Okay, so welcome back to Just the Facts, y'all. My name is Jimmy, and today I'm going to give you my Texas Longhorns, number 9 ranked Texas Longhorns versus TCU this upcoming Saturday preview and prediction video. Coming off the win, obviously, but there was a lot of stuff I had to talk about and mention, which I did in my previous video on Texas. You can go and watch it. It might be on the screen right now. Go check that out after this, but we got some stuff to clean up. One thing is the special teams miscues. The blocked punt that they returned for a touchdown, the onside kick they recovered, and the muffed punt, I think, by Deshaun Jameson. So those three special teams miscues could have lost us that game easily. You know, if you were to tell me that a team would have 3 special teams miscues and would still win the game, I wouldn't have believed you. You know, I would have said you're crazy. But we did win the game. That probably shows how good we are or how bad Tech is. I'm not sure. But another thing that we weren't good on was tackling. Oh my God, it looked like 2016 Texas, for crying out loud. If y'all are real Texas fans, y'all know what I'm talking about. The last thing is the run game and the offensive line. We did end up with like 200 rushing yards or so, but it didn't really seem like it. We really got the run game going in the second half, mostly with Keontae, and then Sam in the first half was really just scrambling around running for yards. So the numbers are kind of deceptive when you look at it. We had like 4 yards a carry, which is okay. Keontae had 7 yards per carry, but it didn't really seem like it. The eyeball test failed for me in terms of the run game. And to quickly recap the TCU Iowa State game and what TCU did and didn't do, I was at that game actually, and firsthand I can say TCU did not look too good. A lot of turnovers, a lot of just boneheaded plays, boneheaded decisions by the quarterback. I know Max Duggan was out the first half. Max Duggan had some type of health condition that TCU was kind of concerned about, but he still ended up playing in the second half, and he did pretty well. I'll get into that in a minute. But offensive line problems, they were having problems snapping the ball. So many miscues snapping the ball, or lack thereof snapping the ball. And if I recall correctly, they had a lot of tackles for losses. Their running backs were tackled in the backfield often, a lot of sacks. So their offensive line really does have issues. And on the other side of the ball, defensively, I can't believe I'm saying this, but TCU does not look good defensively. They're really the only team in the Big 12 that consistently plays defense every single year, and this might be one of the first years where it's not looking like that. I think it's safe to say that both of these teams will play better. And with that being said, Texas cannot sleep on TCU, man. Max Duggan was out the first half. TCU is not going to look as bad as they did versus Iowa State versus us. You know, they're just not. Gary Patterson's a real great coach. He's going to adjust. He's going to get his guys ready to play. He's going to get his guys to play better. And we got to play better as well. I think we will, but I think TCU will as well. But we're the better team, and I just hope we're not sleeping on TCU. I mean, we better not be sleeping on TCU. In the last 6 matchups, TCU's 5-1 against us, and they're really the only team in the Big 12 that consistently gives us problems for us on the offensive end. 4 out of the last 6 games we've played versus TCU, we've been held to 10 points or less. In the Big 12, yeah, that's crazy. 48-10, 50-7, 31-9, and 24-7. Those were all real bad blowout games, including 4 turnovers last year versus the game versus TCU. TCU gives us hella problems, and they will give us problems this upcoming Saturday. One thing TCU does an exceptional job at is making you pay and really capitalizing on their opportunities. They have some good defensive players still. They have Wallow and Marcel Brooks. That's a real good linebacking core right there to start from. And then you got Trayvon Morig, I believe that's how you say his name. He's a pretty good player as well. And I expect Marcel Brooks to get more and more time as he's getting acclimated to the TCU defensive scheme. Transfer from LSU. He's a great player, and he'll get adjusted accordingly. Last year we had a bunch of 3-and-outs, and it was very frustrating to watch. I was at that game, so it was very frustrating to watch. And we just can't turn the ball over against them because, like I said, they capitalize more than anyone. I believe we got to be able to try to establish the run game. We always want to be a run-first team. Tom Herman always says it, but we just need to start becoming dominant on the offensive line and our run game because we have so much potential. We have Keontae Ingram, who I want to be great. We have Bijan Robinson. We have Roshan Johnson. I think we should be. We have the talent. Obviously, there's no question there. It's just a lack of really blocking and lack of explosiveness from our guys. Breece Hall for Iowa State had 155 yards for 8.6 yards per carry, and I think 2 touchdowns. TCU gave up runs of 75, 49, 32, 22, and 19. That is so unlike TCU. Wide open gaps, wide open lanes for the running backs to run. And I mean, they just look real bad. I'm sure they'll clean some of that up, though. I'm just not worried about Sam at this point in his career. Like, we know what to expect from Sam. He's going to play great. He didn't play great in the second half versus Tech, though. I want to see that cleaned up. But he has a guy by the name of Joshua Moore, who they already have a great connection. Him and Sam do. Joshua Moore's becoming that number one guy, and that's the question I had going into the season was, are we going to be a wide receiver by committee type of team, or are we going to find that number one guy? And already seeming like that guy is going to be Joshua Moore. He had 3 touchdowns, I believe. He's been absolutely great. You can see him and Sam already have that connection there. And speaking of another guy that has a connection with Sam is Brendan Eagles. I just want to see him play more and get more involved in the offense because, like I said, him and Sam have great chemistry as well. I see that building as well. So, and we're just deep at the wide receiver spot. Tariq Black had no catches the other game. I don't know why. Brendan Schooler has been pretty good. Kai Money unexpectedly come out of nowhere and he's producing. Jake Smith will be back this week, so I'm excited for that. And on the flip side of things, TCU will play better offensively as a whole. Max Duggan came in the second half, was 16 for 19, threw a couple touchdowns. He had a pick, but TCU's offense just looked way better when he was out there rather than Matthew Downing, I believe is his name. Like I said, our tackling was really bad in the Tech game, and I think that will improve over time. That's just technique, man. That's just simple technique, simple fundamentals. Can TCU run the ball? I think for TCU to win this game, they're going to have to run the ball because I don't think Max Duggan is that good, but maybe some people might say otherwise, but I just don't think he's that good. He is better than the Downing guy. Max Duggan is the best quarterback on the team, but I just don't think he's that good. I don't think he can beat us. If it comes down to him throwing the ball 30, 34, 35 times, I don't think he can do that. If they have a run game along with Max Duggan passing the ball effectively and efficiently, then I can see TCU beating us, but they only had 2.3 yards per carry versus Iowa State. Like I said, the offensive line had a lot of issues. Our run defense has been pretty good over the past couple years. That's been the most consistent part of our defense. It's our defensive line. Pertaining to the run game, we just are pretty good with the run defensively. So we only held Roderick Thompson to 30 yards. If you take away that play where we missed a whole bunch of tackles and Roderick ran for 70 yards to the end zone, he finished with 100 yards, but, take that yardage away, he only finishes with 30 yards versus us. A very good running back in the Big 12. As for the keys to the game, I have 2 of them. One is the turnover margin. Whichever team can win a turnover margin will have the upper hand in this game. Last year, TCU was +4 in the turnover margin. We lost by 10. We cannot turn the ball over because TCU, like I said, is great at capitalizing off of your mistakes. Their offense gets helped out a lot when you make the turnovers and they have a short field to work with. On the flip side, I don't think TCU can turn the ball over like that because I don't think they can recover from 2-3 turnovers in a game. I just don't think they're that explosive this year. Yeah, they have Tate Barber back. I forgot to mention him. And he's a big-time playmaker, but you can't give him the ball if Texas has the ball. And the second key is the running game. Can TCU tighten up defensively with their running game, or will it be more of the same from last week versus Iowa State? Like I said, TCU gave up 7 yards per carry versus Iowa State, and they gave up 4 rushes of more than 20 yards. So that's just so unlike TCU football. I was so surprised to see that. But can they tighten up the run game, and can we get our run game going at that same time? We want to be a run-first team. We want to start off the game running the ball. I think that's why we have a whole bunch of slow starts. Well, that was really much last season. We have slow starts because we always want to run the ball in the beginning of the game, but we can never run the ball. We can't establish the run game. We want to be a run-first team, but we can't run the ball. It makes no sense to me. So I want to see our offensive line get more of a push. I want to see more explosiveness from Keontae, Bijan, Roshan. Get these guys out on the edge. These guys aren't the fastest dudes and the most shiftiest dudes, but I mean, there's some really good athletes and they can beat guys. And it takes the pressure off of Sam. Last year, Sam threw 4 interceptions. That was half of Sam's interceptions for the season was in that game versus TCU. He had to throw the ball a lot, and as a result, a whole bunch of turnovers. Can we get the run game going to alleviate some of the pressure off of Sam? But with that being said, prediction time. I think this will be a low-scoring game in relation to the Texas Tech game. But I have my Longhorns winning by a score of 31-23. Like I said, TCU's defense will play better. Our defense will play better. I don't think we'll have the special teams miscues, but I just don't think TCU's offense is good enough to really just hang with Texas. Even if they're not turning the ball over, honestly, our tackling will get better, like I said. So I don't think they'll have as much explosive plays as what Texas Tech had. They're not even nowhere near as good of an offense as Texas Tech. So they have a better defense, but they're not TCU standard defense. So they're just not good enough this year to beat us. So I'm very confident in this game. It's going to be close in the beginning, but I expect us to pull it out. Texas is not good enough yet to really dominate teams like TCU. We will win. We will move on to 3-0 heading into the game versus Oklahoma, and that's going to be the big game. But with that being said, man, this is Jimmy from Just the Facts. Let me know who y'all think will win in the comments down below. Give me a score prediction. If you're right, you might get a shout out or something. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, man, I'm signing out. Peace.